same day, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid decided to leave the Wild Bunch behind and decamp for South America.
Hey everyone, Carolyn here with Blaze from Techland. We're talking about Call of Juarez Gunslinger. So I've just played through a demo of this game. Now, one of the most distinctive things about the game is the sound design. The game is being narrated by the player character, and it seems he's like telling the story. But he's kind of telling one version, and sometimes people remember it another way, and then things change. That's actually pretty fun and cool. Is that something that kind of happens throughout the game, people can expect?
Absolutely. The fact that you are playing someone's story is the basic premise of the game, and we actually took it from how tales spread in the Wild West, right? People would come into a saloon, sit down, get a drink on the house, preferably if they had a good story, and they would tell their own version of it. And with no YouTube, they actually owned the story, so it was up to them to basically decide what happens. And this is how it works with our narrator. Our protagonist, Silas Greaves, is a bounty hunter who had a long life. He's old and experienced. He sits down and starts telling stories, but he has an agenda because he became a bounty hunter to try and get closer to some people he was after. And over the course of his pretty insane career, he met all those legendary lawmen, outlaws, the famous characters of the West, and he got himself involved in many famous shootouts, robberies, and other events from history. And as he tells those events, we are mixing history, myth, and a bit of his own, poetic license, so to speak. But he does have an audience, and the audience can challenge him about something. So when he has to kind of go back and change the story, the game changes to reflect that.
Call of Juarez is a series that has a lot of retail releases in it. This game is going to be a downloadable game, and it's a single-player experience only. Is that right?
It's right. We focused on the story mode. We had this classic Western story to tell, and we thought that the digital platform would be perfect for that. There are other modes. The story mode is where you play through the history, through the story of Silas Greaves and learn about everything else. Then we have arcade mode, which plays upon the more arcade-ish, action-oriented side of the game, because I'm sure you noticed we have a scoring system, an experience system, so kill streaks, combos. This is where the hardcore players can get into mastering the levels. You don't get the narrator, the challenges are a little tougher, but there are leaderboards, so you can compete with friends, you can see who can beat the level with the highest score, obviously.
This game has a really, I think, interesting visual style to it. When you take out an enemy and there's just this really dramatic kind of blood spatter effect that happens, things like that. Can you talk a little bit about the look of the game?
Well, absolutely, because you notice the comic book style of the game. Sometimes this thing is used to kind of simplify the graphics, to make them lighter on the hardware or something. This is absolutely not the case. The engine behind it is Chrome Engine 5. This is the same engine that powered Dead Island, for example, so it's fully capable of high-definition graphics. And actually everything in the game, all the characters, all the objects, are created just as detailed and as realistic as in any other game. And then the effects, the style is applied afterwards. So this allows us to first play with the storytelling part, because we have some cool transitions that look like brush strokes. We have bullet holes that look like something is tearing through a piece of paper, and many other tricks that play with the narrator thing. And this also lets us use color in a more interesting ways than reality, because we are taking a journey through many classic Western, locations, all that beautiful scenery, and some surprises too. And because of that style, we can really make it over the top, beautiful.
I did notice as I was playing that I was earning experience. I saw an abilities menu, and I could tell that I could enter this state, I think, called concentration, where things would slow down and kind of give me that opportunity to better aim at my enemies and so on. Can you talk a little bit about what other kinds of abilities or character progression and things people can expect throughout Gunslinger?
course. Well, the concentration mode, the slow motion shooting, I think is one of the core features of the series. We were among the first to introduce it, and people still love it, so we're definitely bringing that back. The new thing that kind of works with that is what we call sense of death. This is the ability to dodge a bullet that's going to kill you. You can only do this once in a while. The meter takes a while to recharge, but this is cool. And for the first time in the series, as you said, we have experience, we have player progression, something the fans were asking for. And this allows you to customize both concentration mode, sense of death. You can get some cool additional features. It can last longer, you can, for example, counterattack more quickly, and so on. And you can also specialize in using the main types of weapons, like, shotguns, revolvers, rifles. And it adds all sorts of cool abilities, including, aiming, damage, reloading, switching, all those things that you can basically do to combine those weapons. So this really enhances the experience. You can focus on the area that you really, really like and, develop it until the end. When you're maxed out, you can move to the other, or you can mix and match.
Fantastic. So what platforms is Gunslinger coming to, and when might we be able to get our hands on it?
The game will come out really soon, and we'll have an announcement probably somewhere next week. The game is coming out for XBLA, PSN, and Steam Digital.
Fantastic, Blaze. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.